This week on Taste Utah, it's all about the sacred handoff from farmer to restaurant and from legacy restaurant to next generation owners. First, we're celebrating 4 generations of apple farmers at Pyne Farms in Payson, where Ken Pyne's passion for growing multiple varieties of apples is contagious. Not only is he a steward of the land, but he wants to make sure that when he hands you his product or supplies it to a local restaurant, that the apple you get will satisfy the flavor you're craving. Then, we're talking legacy restaurants. We're at the new location of Banbury Cross in Centerville, where 2 donut enthusiasts decided they wanted to continue the legacy of that legendary yellow box, and with the blessing of the original owners, have decided to start opening up their own stores. And they're committed to using the exact same sprinkling of love and care. This is an episode you do not want to miss. Taste Utah is always bringing you local flavors from seeds to our authentically Utah restaurants. Behind every good food story is a great people story. It's our farmers, artisans, chefs, restaurateurs, and hospitality professionals that make Utah a dining destination. Food is a necessity, and it's how we cultivate it, share it, and experience it together that truly creates our unique community. You always have a seat at this table. Are you ready to taste Utah?
We're in Santaquin. It's known for its beautiful farms, its orchards, and we're at Pyne Farms. They're growing 7,000 different apple trees and a myriad of different varieties. We're gonna go meet with Kent. He's the farmer, he's the steward of these trees, and guess what? We're gonna taste apples. Hi, Kent.
Katy, how are you?
Oh my gosh, this is magical. It is so good to be out here.
Well, welcome to the farm. Welcome to Pyne Farms.
We've wanted to do this for some time. It's so fun. We're out here in Santaquin. We're in the beautiful fields. The breadth of your orchard, how big is it?
53 acres.
Oh my gosh, and so you're just gonna take me on some apple adventures?
Yeah.
We're gonna talk farming, we're gonna talk soil, we're gonna talk varieties of apples you're growing.
I've got some really cool stuff to show you today.
Awesome. Yeah, lead the way. Let's make it happen.
All right.
I have so many questions, Kent. Number one, how long is your growing season?
From early May all the way until about the end of October, beginning of November. We're pretty busy.
Yeah.
We got lots to do to make sure we have a really good, high quality apple.
What kind of varieties? How many would you say you're growing here?
As of right now, I've got about 15. Next year, I'll be up to about 35.
And we have some apples on the ground because part of the process of growing is this thinning.
Yeah.
Okay, talk to us a little about that.
Yeah, so sometimes, depending on the year, we'll have a lot of blossoms.
Okay.
And so we'll do some blossom thinning. We'll put a little bit of stress on the tree and make some of those blossoms fall off.
Okay.
And that helps us for the following year to make sure that we don't have a really heavy set of apples on the tree one year and then hardly anything the next year. So we start right when the flowers are on the tree.
Well, and that decomposition then provides nutrients and fertilizer.
It goes right back into the soil.
It's a very natural process. So you may lose that yield, but actually it's this really symbiotic relationship of farm to soil where it's like you do need those. In nature, it would just happen. You just
Natural
drop.
composting, right?
Yes, well said, exactly.
There's really a lot of work that goes into it. It's not like we just water the trees and just, hope for the best.
Yeah.
There's days I'm down here 24 hours a day.
Jeez.
There's days where it's raining. We've picked apples in the snow before.
Right.
So you just got to deal with what Mother Nature gives you and just make the best of it.
And they all sort of ripen at different times.
Yeah, so the way that we have it is that it's kind of staggered. Like right now, we're just finishing up picking galas. We're just going to start picking Honeycrisp here today. So
those happen to be one of my
You'll get to try one of those fresh off the tree.
Good.
But yeah, it kind of staggers all the way until about end of October, early November.
So this is a nice time for us to be able to come and say here are some early young apples. These will probably ripen around
very end of October. This is my latest. October. Yeah, it's an old standard Fuji tree. So these.
Oh, how cool!
Sometimes we pick these second week in November. It just depends on the year.
I would love to go to where you're harvesting.
Let's go do it right now.
second. This is huge, what, barrel, bucket, basket of apples. How long would you say it takes for someone to harvest?
It's really hard work because you're up and down a ladder with a bag that holds about 40 pounds of apples, and you're doing that, and right now it's probably about 80 degrees outside.
Yeah.
It's gonna get 100
Hotter,
degrees.
hotter, yeah. You're just
and so
dripping.
it's really, really hard.
Now, what kind of apples are these?
So this is called a Royal Gala.
Okay, and what do they taste like? Would you say they're sweeter? They're
Well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and taste it.
It was a selfish question.
So crisp and sweet. It's like eating candy.
Oh my gosh, that is so good.
You can even smell it. Sometimes, like this year, it's been exceptionally, like the smell through the orchard. I've never been able to smell it so strongly as this year. So I don't know if Mother Nature's doing something, but I can smell the apples.
How many employees do you have working on the orchards?
It's me and one full-time year-round employee, and then I have about 2 or 3 part-time seasonal employees that help with the apple harvest. And then my dad also helps me out quite a bit too.
Your dad, okay, so that's 1-2 generations. How old is the?
So I am I am 4th generation. So 1903 is when my great-grandfather Ivan Pyne got into farming when he was a teenager to help support the family. Started out in Orem.
Okay.
And throughout the years, a lot of the orchards in Orem started to disappear because of the urban sprawl. And a lot of growers came down to Payson, Genola, and Santaquin. And so we've been here since about the late 70s. Almost every grower around this area has come from the Provo and Orem, Pleasant Grove area.
So much of Utah's history is this beautiful, rich agriculture. And Utah is just exploding with development and people wanting to move here and live here. But the sanctity, the soil, and the farming is so essential.
And trying to keep that balance, you know, we don't want more food than we know what to do with, right? We want to be able to sell it. We want to have customers to be able to sell it to, so we have to kind of balance that out.
Supporting local farms and local farmers, like this yield you'll take to a farmer's market, and instead of it being apples from, you know, last spring or something that you're getting in the grocery store, which are still good, it's just a different experience.
It's a different experience. I mean, and when you go to a farmer's market too, you can actually meet the farmer oftentimes. You know?
Cool.
So you get to ask any questions you may have about your tree at home, or, you know, how was this grown?
Yeah.
You know, those types of questions.
Are you connected to local restaurants and bakeries?
Yeah, so
and
there's quite a few restaurants and bakeries that we sell to every year and have been selling to for years, actually.
Yeah. What are some of them? Drop their names. We love to hear them.
Sundance, the tree room at Sundance.
Foundry Grill.
Foundry Grill. We've been selling apples to them for a few years.
Yeah.
Auntie M's.
The pies.
Pies up in Park City.
Yeah, she's so great.
Pie Party in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of other ones. Hearth and Hill in Park City.
Yes. It's so cool. Okay, so name them again for us, the different apples that you're growing here.
So these are galas. Right behind me here, we've got Honeycrisp. So these are just barely starting to come on. We haven't started picking them yet. I'll probably pick a few today.
Those are
but
beautiful.
Super crunchy. It's like everybody's favorite apple, it seems like now.
I love a Honeycrisp.
Now, here's a newer apple. It's called Kindercrisp.
Okay.
I'm debating whether or not I should grow these. I actually did, full disclosure, I did not grow that apple, but before I ordered apple trees to plant, I will order the apples from another orchard.
It's an investment to buy a tree, watch it grow for 8 years, and then hope it yields you some fruit that you can use.
Yep.
Ooh.
This one is actually came from a Honeycrisp, so one of the parents is a Honeycrisp. I don't know what the other parent is.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of an Envy, but less pear-like, which I think Envies have a little bit of pear. This is so light and just so delicious.
It's got a lot of juice too.
Yeah, it's so good, and that like just crisp flesh.
There's one more apple variety I'm going to show you too.
Lead the way.
So this is a newer variety.
Okay.
It hasn't been around too long. It's called Crimson Crisp.
Ooh, Crimson Crisp.
So you kind of see it has like that dark crimson red color. It's really well known because it's really disease resistant, but at the same time, so it's grower friendly, but at the same time, it's really got a good flavor. So if you want to try that out.
Thank you.
These trees are only 2 years old, and so
it's so warm because it's been in the sun.
it's been out in the sun. And so this is the first time we've had, you know, a handful of apples on these trees.
The texture reminds me of like a almost ripe, like Asian pear. But the taste It's almost like a Granny Smith, but with like a sweet undertone.
And so the main reason I planted this apple is because it's similar to that same profile of a Braeburn, but it comes on 5-6 weeks earlier.
Oh, that's so
So
nice.
to kind of help extend that same flavor profile, you know, for a little bit longer.
They all are so unique and so dynamic and offer so much flavor, texture, nutrient, you know, sugar. It's just...
Size and color and everything. They're just like people.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
They're all a little bit different.
Yeah, I love it. And so are the trees that grow. And so these ones would say we would say they're a little younger.
The trees in this part of the orchard are only 2 years old, and so
Okay.
they're more of a semi-dwarf, and so they're not going to get like, you know, 15 feet tall and have a trunk around that's really big. You know, they'll start producing fruit a little bit earlier, and they'll be like full grown, you know, here in another 2 or 3 years.
I want to thank you for being a steward of the land, because in some ways this land is far more valuable as development than it is as, you know, short-term economically. But to the consumer and to humanity, what you're doing here is literally what will sustain us into the future, and that's a choice that you and your family choose to make, and we could not be more grateful for that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Now let me go find more apples. Since 1986, Banbury Cross has been a Utah favorite, and we're here at their newest location in Centerville. We're gonna meet Brad and Benj. They've partnered up with the traditional first location of Banbury Cross to offer you some of the sweetest treats. You've been requesting that Taste Utah take you to Banbury Cross for, I don't know, the last several seasons. You know I love it when I can make your food dreams come true. Benj!
Nice to meet you.
Oh my gosh, it's so good to be here. It's
Thank you
lovely
for
to meet
coming.
you as well. It smells like a little bit of heaven.
I mean, this is what I think heaven's gonna look like.
I have been coming to Banbury Cross since maybe I was 5 years old. Like,
amazing.
you just knew it was a good day when you finished your soccer game and somebody had that little yellow box with like the rocking horse on it.
Well, we got plenty. Brad's got a bunch of donuts. We're
Okay.
gonna set up at the table.
Perfect.
He'll bring them over and you can eat until you can't eat anymore.
Yes, all right, lead the way, my friend. All right, Brad, Benj said that you had some donuts for us, and you didn't disappoint, which I am entirely grateful for.
Okay.
We just hope it's enough for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll probably get seconds, but I hope that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
And then
Yeah.
if you have a wheelbarrow that you can just take me out to my
Yep.
car, and
Yeah.
that'll be fine. Yeah. What are your favorite donuts?
Oh man, I'm a traditional old-fashioned guy.
Okay.
But I think one of the best donuts that we do is probably our cinnamon crumb raised.
Yeah. What about you, Benj?
I'm boring. I'm a raised, just a raised glazed guy. But having said that, like the blueberry cake with the blueberry topping is like unbelievable.
So this is the Centerville location. The original is
Salt Lake.
Salt Lake City, 700 East and like, is it 700
700
South?
South.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so 7th and
7th.
7th. What's the relationship there? How long has Banbury Cross, just as a donut store, been open?
Actually, a fascinating story with the original owners. They came up with the idea we want to do donuts.
Yeah.
And so they went to work on figuring out recipes, and they started without a brand.
Yeah.
And now, whatever many years that is, 35 years later, I mean, they are the premier brand in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
And everybody in Salt Lake knows Banbury Cross. And it wasn't easy. Like, I think people see the success now of the store, and they're just like, oh, it was always that way. We've gotten to know the original owners, who are just wonderful people. They still own the Salt Lake store.
Such extraordinary couple, right?
Amazing people.
Yeah.
And they've given back to the community. In the first couple of years, it was like touch and go whether they would make it, but
my
they just
gosh.
they focused on quality
Yeah.
and just, you know, making good donuts at really good prices, and it worked. What people don't see in our store is the number of donuts that never make the shelf.
That's such a good
Right.
point. Talk about that.
So we're really strict on not just how the donut tastes, but how it looks.
Yeah.
Brad's in the back with our like head bakers, and they'll review the donuts before they hit the shelf.
Yeah.
And if they don't look a certain way, if we've maybe overproofed them, you know, we've not cooked them properly, we don't sell them for a discount, we don't even give them away. And you know, one of the things that makes Banbury Cross unique to most other donut stores is we never sell day-old donuts.
The value of the brand is the taste of the donut, whether it's bought or given or anything like that.
When we walked in here, like all our crew was like, "Wow, this is my whole childhood." You know, you get a little yellow case of glazed donuts, and it is a fantastic day. And how often can you say that about anything? Like at its most simple form, just give me the donut, a little bit of glaze on it, it's good.
You know, there's a customer locally, I came across a page, and she wrote about how someone like did a hit and run on her car. So I messaged her, I said, look, we can't change what happened, but we'd love to give you a free dozen donuts. And she's just like over the moon about that. And the point is, like, donuts have this unique ability to just like give you a moment in a difficult day where you're like, I'm happy, I'm content, this feels amazing.
Yes.
And so, you know, we love it. You know, we love serving these donuts every single day. Little kids' faces beam up, you know. And what's amazing is you'll see older people.
And big kids.
And big kids. Everyone beams up at the donuts, and it's just the coolest thing in the world, you know. And they're donuts, you know, they're nothing spectacular, but they're sort of part of the American fabric, I would say.
Number one, what's clear to me is that you are working in complete harmony and partnership with the original owners, and let's say their names.
Jeff and Joan.
Jeff and Joan.
Yeah.
The Morrows, yeah.
Morrows.
The Morrows, just the dream team. And that not only do you want to take what they've done and offer it to more people, but you want to honor what it is they are creating.
Well, when I heard about Banbury Cross and I met with the owners, one of the things that was interesting is they invited me straight up to their home. So I sat down in their home and they told me, you know, nearly every year, multiple times a year, someone sits down with them and says, hey, I want to franchise, I want to grow, you know, I want to do something with your business. And they had resisted it because their number one fear was someone's just going to take this really good brand that they'd mothered basically.
This legacy.
Yeah, legacy, and just get so hyper consumed with, you know, profits over product.
Yeah.
And so we spend what I call like 3 years courting, you know, like hanging out. And in that process, you know, I realized how important that was to them, and I realized how important that was to the brand. And so we committed to them that literally if we do something, we will do it the exact same way they did it. And that's painful because they've got 35 years ahead of us.
Yeah.
Right? And so we're trying to catch up with them. But it's one of the reasons why we kept the store looking
so cute.
like the original store,
Yeah.
you know. Some people, you know, there's different sort of interior design looks now that are popular. We like, no, let's keep it the way that it was. Let's make the donuts the way that they make it. And let's honor them, because the reality is any success we have is because of 35, 36 years of work that they put into it.
For you to be that next person or that next, you know, business partnership that's like, we want to take this story, we want to tell it, so that you can count on us. That's super special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's go look at the nuts and bolts, shall we?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so in the heart of most kitchens that I'm in, it's typically like stovetop, fire, but in the heart of a donut shop, of course, the kitchen is going to revolve around the fryer.
So this is what we call a donut dough depositor.
Okay.
So this is how you can do donut cake holes, but also the different donuts like the old-fashioned, the white cake, the chocolate cake.
Okay.
So pretty simple. Once you get in the oil, you got to
Put it
watch
in
out.
there.
Nice
Okay.
hot oil.
372 degrees, it
Yep.
says.
And then we're gonna just start cranking.
Oh, just
Single
drop it right
donuts in,
down.
yeah.
Oh, so cool.
Move it and crank it in.
Okay.
You want to try one?
Yeah, and just like in that same kind of row.
Yep. And just make sure you're stopping right here to bring it all the way towards you.
Okay.
Stop right there.
Okay, perfect. So
That
then a
closes
full
it.
stop.
Yep.
Full stop.
Stop. Yep.
Full stop.
And then these.
You take your rock and roll drumsticks.
Yep, the drumsticks that we often drum with.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Okay, so right hand you're gonna beat your flipping hand.
Okay.
This one's just gonna stabilize
So
the
like
donut.
you flip to the left.
Yep. So you're gonna stabilize that with one
Okay.
finger and then you just flip it.
Ooh, I kind of like. I'm excited to
Okay.
feel the texture too,
Yeah.
just to like stabilize it and
There
flip.
you go. Natural.
Stabilize and flip. So I noticed, like, this is so cool too. You just like pulled the donuts up and it just strains all
Yep.
the way back down.
So these donuts are very hot.
Okay.
So be careful, your hands get and then you're just gonna stack them in.
Okay. This is what we call well-calloused serving
You're gonna
fingers.
flip it so the top down. Yep.
Top down, like
Yep.
that. Okay. Almost like brownie dough. Like that's the consistency of this frosting, which is amazing.
Okay, we're gonna let them rest for about probably 30 seconds or so.
Okay.
I did this one day on a Sunday, and
Yeah.
I used to think this must be the easiest job in the world. It's actually not. When you're doing the raised donuts like this,
Yeah.
That are soft.
you have to like it's
Yeah.
like you'll break them in
Yeah.
your hand. Go.
I'll pull one of them out and kind of
Okay,
show
yeah.
you what to do.
Give me a
So
little
always
model
pull
here.
out the one we put in first.
Okay.
Just gonna shake it and kind of twist it. There it
Ooh.
was, and then it's gonna go straight into the sprinkles.
Oh, it's so cute.
Okay, the rest are yours.
Okay.
You can either do a cold donut with a warm icing or a hot donut with a cold icing.
That makes sense.
And they chose this way because you can control the thickness of the icing a lot better, I feel like.
Benj, do you want to
Doing a hot
redeem
donut.
yourself here and do some?
No, I'm just gonna embarrass myself after you. Like, you're doing this better than I am.
Listen. Oh, they look so yummy. They're still warm. So clear that you both take such pride in taking this amazing, it really is like, it's an authentically Utah concept, Utah heart, Utah soul, and we feel so proud as Utahns to be a part of it. And it's like you're so proud to be able to offer it to us. And now people in northern Utah don't have as far to drive,
Yep.
which is really, really nice. And you really care. There's so much love in the back of this house. And just thank you. Thank you for like such a fun day. I should probably go eat some more donuts. And you know who needs to eat more donuts is you. I'm the only person that's eaten donuts this whole, okay,
I'm
good,
getting
yeah.
a
Eating donuts all day.
All right, let's go eat some more.